everybody, and thank you for joining us to learn a little bit more about SBA's EIDL application. We wanted to take some time this afternoon to give a brief rundown of how simple the EIDL application process is for ag producers. We've been getting a lot of questions across the Intertribal Ag Council's Technical Assistance Network, and we just want to make sure that we're doing our part to help share information that we've found regarding the application process. First of all, to our ag producers, thank you all for what you are contributing to our economies right now and all of the work that you're doing in stewarding our land. We know that right now is a really trying time, a straining time where there's a lot of strain on the industry, and we just want you to know that we are here to offer whatever support we can. We want this particular recording to serve as a resource guide to show you as ag producers how easy this application process is. However, we want to lead off with, if you have any technical questions about this application process beyond what we talk about today, please contact the Small Business Administration's customer support hotline, 1-800-659-2955. The Economic Disaster Assistance Loan, if you are an ag producer, you can qualify to apply for assistance. Basically how it works, it boils down into 5 steps to get started. First, you need to get your 2019 Schedule F tax form. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, that does not make you ineligible. It simply means you're gonna have to do a little more effort, put forth a little more effort pulling together your sales receipts and kind of outlining your operational expenses so that you can fill out the application referencing the numbers that are required by the EIDL application. You will submit an application to covid19relief.sba.gov. Third, your application will be reviewed. Fourth, you will be qualified to receive a disaster assistance loan. And 5, you will receive a grant advance in your bank account. If you want to learn more, please keep listening. First, we recommend that you track down your 2019 Schedule F tax form. This is your schedule for profit or loss for your farming or ag operation enterprise. This form helps you to accurately complete the application, and if you haven't gotten your 2019 taxes filed yet, you will need to track down your sales receipts to help you calculate total income on the operation, as well as your expense receipts to calculate your cost of goods sold and or your operating expenses. To start your application, we want to make sure that everybody is aware that it is a really short and simple process. Once you have a little bit of guidance through it, don't think that this is going to take an entire day for you to do. There's not an excessive amount of paperwork. It's a real short, simple process, and you'll find that it works to your advantage to sit down and get it done. First step of the application process, you will have to identify your entity type. Here we have a screenshot of the very first page of the disaster loan assistance application. As an ag operator, you would choose the second bullet point, which states that you are an applicant that is an ag enterprise with not more than 500 employees. Next, you will need to review and check all of the following to indicate that you are an eligible entity to apply. You'll have to agree that you're not engaged in any illegal activity, that no principal applicant is more than 60 days delinquent on child support obligations, no applicant presents live performances, the applicant does not derive more than 1/3 of gross annual revenue from legal gambling activities, applicant is not in the business of lobbying, and the applicant cannot be a state, local, or municipal government entity and cannot be a member of Congress. Second step, you will input your business information. You'll notice that it's a real brief description of the business information. Some things to point out is there will be a question about when the date of the business was established. We would recommend that you refer back to when you first started filing a Schedule F for your operation. Your current ownership would be when you assumed ownership of the business or you started the business. The business activity type is agriculture, and recognize that where it says detailed business activity, none of the below is the only option that you get to select. For number of employees, as an individual applicant, you are the sole proprietor that would consider you as one employee. And here is where you would actually input the legal name of the business. In this instance, this would be the rancher's name for both the business legal name and the trade name. If you're a sole proprietorship, you would use your social security number to validate the business information. You would select sole proprietorship for organization type. The applicant as an egg producer would not be a nonprofit organization, and the applicant would not be a franchise. We pulled up a Schedule F profit or loss from farming to put side by side here to kind of help guide what we understand to be the best way to fill out the application. You'll notice on the left, the disaster loan assistance page from the SBA application portal, the gross revenue for 12 months prior to date of the disaster, we have $1 entered there. And that is to be referenced to the Schedule F on the right, which is Part 1, Line 2, where we also have a number 1. So if you have your Schedule F out, you will refer to Part 1, Line 2, and that is what you would report for gross revenue for the 12 months prior to the date of the disaster. Your cost of goods sold for the 12 months prior to the date of the disaster would be any of the numbers that you have filled in on your Schedule F, Part 1, Line 1, where there may be a cost or other basis of livestock. If we're talking about a cow-calf operator, you typically would not have any costs of goods sold because your calves do not have any associated costs specific to developing them. Your cost would be an operating expense. So your rental properties, number 3, we don't have that identified anywhere here on Schedule F. Keep in mind that this application process is designed for all small businesses, and so there are some parts of the loan application process that don't necessarily apply to you as an ag operator. Line number 33 on your Schedule F is where you would find a total expenses line item. In a recent webinar that we viewed with Small Business Administration and the USDA Rural Development, it was brought to our attention that depreciation is something that is reported on the profit or loss from farming. And when you are calculating your nonprofit or agricultural enterprise cost of operation for the 12 months prior to the date of the disaster, it is important to back that depreciation amount out of your cost of operation so that it doesn't create any confusion in determining what your gross revenues are against your cost of operations. Compensation from other sources received as a result of the disaster would be if you as an ag operator have applied and qualified for the payroll protection plan or any other sort of disaster assistance. Keep in mind on the disaster loan assistance screenshot on the left-hand side of this page, only those line items that have a red star next to them are required. The others are considered optional through this phase of the application process. If you don't have your 2019 tax return yet, you can use your actual farm income or a close estimated figure as a substitute. We recommend digging through your farm income receipts and finding any sales receipts, bill of sales, through private treaty purchases, government ag payments, or custom hire receipts, which would be your IRS Form 1099. And then farm expenses could include forage and feed bills, any leased land bills, if you have a utility bill, and any vet and supply bills. The third step in the application process for the EIDL application is to report business ownership. Here are some more screenshots using an actual producer's, a sample of what an actual producer would report as the business owner. For our individual ag producers, we are looking at, again, a sole proprietorship where there is one owner of the business, and you would be filling out your personal information here to have a 100% ownership share, to be the owner. You would input your email, make sure that the email you utilize throughout this application is one that you can check regularly, because that is how communication will take place from here on out regarding the application. You'll need to complete your birth date. You'll have to identify if you are a US citizen, as well as providing a residential address. If there are additional owners, you would be able to elect to add more owners to the application. Your fourth step, you will report additional information. You will select the corresponding bubble that pertains to you individually as an applicant. And if someone is filing this application for you, there is a place for them to offer their information to show that they have helped you to complete the application. If you would like assistance in navigating the application process or gaining access to the technology or internet access that you need to apply online, feel free to go ahead and contact us at the Intertribal Ag Council. We're happy to assist. The next page that you will be brought to has some kind of funky questions on it. One of them is checking a box as to if you would like to consider to be, or if you would like to be considered for an advance of up to $10,000. Check that box. And then where to send the funds. Here is where you will input your banking information. Make sure that your bank information is accurate before you input the information. We anticipate that this will help to kind of eliminate any back and forth hurdles that might come from later on in the application process if you were to accidentally input the information incorrectly. And then make sure that you read through the closing statements here, and you will have to certify that this application is accurate by checking the second box there in the lower left-hand corner. Fifth step, before you hit submit, we recommend that you save a copy of your application for your reference in the future. This can be done by simply right-clicking on the screen at the preview section of the application prior to hitting submit. You right-click and you select print, and you save the entire application as a file on your computer to reference to later. The application will be submitted when you see a page similar to this. It will pop up and it will tell you application submitted. There will be a several-digit number right there in the gray circle that indicates what your application number is. Please write this down so that you can reference back to this number if you have any questions in trying to understand perhaps at what phase of review your application is, or when you start to get some correspondence from SBA. So what happens next? You've completed the application. What should you prepare for? We've broken this down into 4 components. First, you should anticipate a grant advance. Second, there will be a loan eligibility determined. Third will be loan acceptance and loan closing. And fourth is financial planning. And we don't have a specific rule of thumb as to which order these are coming through. We've heard from some producers, they get their grant advance before they know about their loan eligibility. Some know about their loan eligibility and see a grant advance in a few days. Regardless, what we really want to focus on is the fact that financial planning should be a very highly considered aspect of the next phase of the EIDL application process. The grant advance. You'll check your email and your bank account regularly to just follow up to make sure you're not getting any communication from SBA regarding your application. You may see the grant advance process into your bank account as soon as a few days. Here's a snippet of what that grant advance might look like. Loan eligibility will be determined by the Small Business Administration based on your application submitted and how you completed your application. You will be notified via email with further instructions for the next step once your loan eligibility has been determined. The next steps from here on out will require completion within 30 days of the notification. So again, it's important to be timely in checking your email and just verifying that you're not missing any communication from SBA. The next steps include only a few things that can easily be completed online. First, you will receive an email that asks you to create an account in the disaster loan portal. Second, they will ask you to verify your identity. Third, you will sign the closing documents. The loan application will get approved and you would get an email similar to this from the Small Business Administration that would basically state that your loan application has been approved, and you will click view account and it will take you through the process to log in and register to see what your loan eligibility is and determine if you will be taking the loan out. One of the first emails, again, will ask you to create an account. After you verify your identity by answering a few multiple choice questions, you will discover the maximum estimated loan amount which you qualify for as an ag producer. Again, here is what that email would look like when you're invited to create your account. After creating your account and verifying your identity, you will be able to review the quoted eligible loan amount that has been offered to you as a result of your application submitted. The loan acceptance and loan closing process will then follow. If you have a current lien or any outstanding debts attached to your chattels, please consider contacting those lenders prior to accepting any loans to visit with them about how this could influence your particular operation. Remember, you have the choice to choose the amount which you want to borrow in this loan. It can be anywhere from $1 to the maximum amount that was calculated for you to be eligible to receive from the Small Business Administration. It is your responsibility to carefully read all terms and closing agreements before you sign. The general loan terms, however, have been identified to be 3.75% interest on the loan proceeds for 30 years. This is a loan that would be paid back monthly, and the payments would start 12 months from the sign-on date. So there is a 12-month deferral period in which you do not have to make any payments on the loan. The loan authorization and agreement is the document that you would want to review very thoroughly before closing the loan. A properly signed document will be required by SBA prior to the disbursement of any of the loan proceeds. So please take the time to really dive into reading this agreement. There's a lot of legal language throughout this document. So if you have any questions, we again advise you to contact the Small Business Administration hotline or give our staff here at the Intertribal Ag Council a call, and we'll do our best to help guide you through those documents. The loan authorization and agreement very clearly outlines to you the loan terms. It tells you how much you have chosen to borrow, what that amount is, and how the payments will be paid back. This particular individual was looking at accepting a loan for $49,700. That meant that their payment would be $243 monthly, which would begin 12 months from the date of the promissory note. The balance of the principal and interest would be payable 30 years from the promissory note. The interest there is going to be accruing at the rate of 3.75 and will accrue only on funds actually advanced from the dates of each advance. There's more language regarding the payment terms as well as the collateral. Please note that this loan authorization and agreement form seems to be fairly generic in the fact that all producers that apply are receiving a similar loan authorization and agreement with the specific amounts and names changed, but a lot of the discussion about collateral and payment terms is identical. So you want to really educate yourself on how this fairly generic loan authorization and agreement will impact your particular operation. Note that underneath the collateral in this loan authorization and agreement, there is a description of two different kind of levels in which an individual can borrow. It states that for loan amounts of greater than $25,000, the borrower hereby grants SBA, the secured party hereunder, a security interest in any and all collateral. And the second bullet point identifies that for any individual that accepts a loan amount of $25,000 or less, the Small Business Administration is not taking a security interest in any collateral. So for those of you that do have current debts already established, it is something to consider and to take into advisement through your financial planning, the amount in which you would like to borrow against this loan. If you agree to all the terms and you sign the closing documents electronically, they will be submitted again electronically. Please keep checking your email for communications from Small Business Administration. And remember that what is key here in this opportunity is financial planning. We really want to advise all of the listeners to realize this is an opportunity for their operation, and we want to make sure that you put the effort into financial planning now so that down the road this doesn't further hinder your operation, but it has actually had the ability to enhance and promote growth in a more sustainable and regenerative operation for you. SBA allots 30 days from approval for the business to accept loan terms. With this time frame, businesses you can plan to figure out what your practical use of these funds are. We advise that you counsel with an accountant, a banker, IAC technical assistant, or some other form of expertise that you have trusted and is knowledgeable of your business operations. I will kick it over to Tommy and she will review how the Small Business Administration's EIDL loan could impact your balance sheet and cash flow as a ag producer.
SBA's loan will be like any other loan. It will be a long-term loan due to the fact that they're giving you 30 years to pay it back. But for amounts over $25,000, they will be taking your business assets as collateral. So this is going to affect your balance sheet just like any loan will. The amount of this loan will be taken out of your farm equity. So it will decrease your equity. So business owners need to keep in mind that this SBA loan will affect their business decisions that they have now and going forward, especially with dealing with future lending needs. SBA will file a UCC on your business assets. So if you have current debt holders that have a lien on your business assets, you may want to contact them to see if this will affect your business at all. And in the future, SBA will be a lien holder, so it may affect how you get loans in the future. So you want to take this into effect when deciding whether to accept the loan amount. SBA's monthly loan terms make for feasible payments. Since it's such a long term to pay it back, you'll be able to have more flexibility in the way you pay it. So business owners should proactively plan on how they want to handle this debt. An early payoff will remove SBA as a lien holder and will no longer be a hindrance with future lending opportunities. So you may want to keep in mind that paying this off early may have a positive effect on your business, but some businesses leaving this out there may be more beneficial for you. You want to take this into account. I think I'll give it back to Kelsey. This is the last slide we have discussing SBA's loan.
Thank you very much, Tommy. We want to, again, recommend that this be used as a tool for understanding how ag producers can access the EIDL application process. We want to urge you to apply because there is a grant advance in the amount of $1,000 that you are qualified for as an ag producer simply for completing the application. That is money that you do not have to pay back. It is money that you can use to contribute to your operation. And then that's in the amount of $1,000. Consider though that the economic disaster loan proceeds can also be used to contribute to your ag operation if your ag operation has been affected by COVID-19. And if you would like further guidance for understanding how you can utilize these loan proceeds to benefit your operation, both in the short term, but in a long-term sustainable manner, please reach out to us here at the Intertribal Agriculture Council. You can find our contact information at www.indianag.org.